Welcome. You dig? You know what I'm saying? It is Friday. We made it to Friday, and I moved my stream where I'm talking about mental health and the government's assistance programs to Sunday. I think I'll probably do stuff like that on Sundays, just because of all the other work I have to do and everything else I got going on. And I can stream multiple times a day, but I'm just coming to find that sometimes that just doesn't work out so well. So I'm doing it officially on Sunday, and I think it's going to be a good discussion. I think I'll start to do that every Sunday. Sundays will just be my days for stuff like that, and maybe a few other things here and there. But overall, things are rolling. It's a nice day here in St. Louis. It's a little warm, but the humidity is not high. It's night was 91 degrees here in St. Louis, so it's a bit warm, but the humidity is low. We got Ashanti in the building. What's going on? Good to have you here. How you doing today on this wonderful, wonderful Friday afternoon? But yeah, no, overall, it's been a pretty good week. I'm in pretty good spirits. I'm feeling pretty well, and yeah, we gonna roll on. But we got some stuff to look at today. I got to go to the dispensary after this. After I'm done streaming, probably not too much long after that, I'm gonna go to the dispensary. I got to get me some edibles and some more flour. Cause man, I've been noticing as I take these edibles, I've been sleeping for. I mentioned it, but I've been sleeping for like 1 or 2 hours more a night, which has really paid off. Like I'm not nearly as exhausted as I can get because I stay up pretty late. Donald, what's going on, brother? How you doing? We got Christina, lovely Christina. What's going on? How are you today? The lovely Christina. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. I got a bunch of tabs pulled up. Sometimes I surprise myself with all the tabs because it doesn't feel like I have all of them. But let's go ahead and start. No, we'll get to that in a minute. Actually, we will get to that in a minute. Let's start off with Larry Kudlow. Let's start off with Larry Kudlow, and then you said it's super warm here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. It's probably a bit more humid there. I don't know. I'm not there, but it's not that bad here in St. Louis. It's hot. The heat is up, but the humidity is rather low. But yeah, nah, I'm going to the dispensary today. I wanted to go yesterday, but I didn't have the chance. So let's go ahead and start off with some Larry Kudlow. Let's see what he's talking about just to get things rolling today. We got he's the stock market is continuously hitting high after high after high. A lot because it's rigged, but let's see what he has to say.
So, day after Fed Chairman Jay Powell sent Kamala Harris a 50 basis point election gift and completely contradicted himself on the economy, whatever, the stock market roared. Okay, our own Jerry Willis on the story. Jerry, what's cooking?
Well, stocks are higher. Stocks surging today on hopes for a soft landing for the economy after the Federal Reserve slashed the Fed funds rate yesterday 50 basis points. The Dow in market action today up 522 points, the S&P up 95, the Nasdaq up 440. All three major averages hitting all-time highs after the best day for markets since August 5th, that is. The rally also lifting small cap stocks as investors' risk appetite was whetted by the Fed's accommodative stance. Nearly every sector rising, tech and consumer discretionary, of course, but also the stocks index, that's semiconductors, rising 4.8%, banks and energy higher as well. Meanwhile, markets are expecting more gas.
The stock market's roaring because the businesses, they think I'm going to win. They think Donald Trump is going to win the election, and so the stock market's roaring.
Fully pricing in a 25 basis point cut when the Fed meets in November. 42% of investors say it will be another half-point cut. Maybe the other critical number I should mention here, the 30-year fixed rate mortgage moving to 6.09%, down 11 basis points. Back to you.
All right, good report, Jerry Willis. Thanks very much. All good for the Kudlow Trust. On the other hand, Jay Powell's 50 bips gift to Kamala Harris isn't a plan. And that's the subject of the riff. No matter how political Fed Chairman Jay Powell may be with his 50 basis points election gift to Kamala Harris,
He said that like 3 or 4 times in this in not even 2 minutes that we've been watching this clip. The gift to Kamala Harris because Republicans want to be able to pretend like they're better on the economy even though they're not because all the Republican Party does other than, like taking rights away from people, taking away whether it be reversing Roe v. Wade, passing these abortion bans, making it more difficult for people to vote, bringing fire and trauma upon the LGBTQ community, stuff like that. Other than that, all the Republicans do is look out for corporate profits and cut benefit programs. That's all they do. So he seems to be a bit salty about this, but even without that, Kamala Harris was still kicking Trump's ass in this election. But he said this 3 or 4 times, and we've been watching this clip for 1 minute and 39 seconds.
The person who helped the American economy the most was Donald Trump during the pre-pandemic first 3 years of his administration, okay? New census numbers show real median income growth during Mr. Trump's pre-pandemic first 3 years compared to Joe Biden's. Overall take-home pay for typical families increased more than 5 times as much under Mr. Trump than under Biden.
5 times? 5x pay? So if you was making $1,000, then all of a sudden you making $5,000 a month? No, Larry Kudlow, come on, that didn't happen.
Up 6.
Maybe you got 5 times additional pay if you were super wealthy, like that would make sense. But no, but regular working people did not see a 5x increase in their pay under Donald Trump. That's ridiculous.
$1,000.40 for Trump versus just $1,050 under Biden-Harris. Okay.
But yeah, there we go. There we go. Now let's see what's up with this. Before we get into other videos, we got Michael in the building. We got Banjo Queen and Kenny. Good to have y'all here. How are you doing? Good to have you here. Now, let's see what's up. U.S. to announce plan to draw down troops in Iraq. Not take them out, but we're gonna draw them down. I mean, honestly, what a lot of people, I think people understand this, but the United States wouldn't be as powerful as it is if we didn't have our military all over the world. Like it just wouldn't be the case. And again, obviously that doesn't justify it, but there's no real way for us to be top dog on the planet without also having our military all over the place. So this is how civilization works. This is how society functions. Americans are pretty far removed from uh, what our military actually does around the world in terms of just maintaining American interest in the interest of our allies around the world. But one of the primary reasons that America's in the position that it's in is slavery, all that free labor that happened when the United States was in its infancy. So slave labor, and then our military. Those are the two biggest things that have contributed to the United States' wealth and control over international markets. Of course, we got entrepreneurship and business and all that shit. But if it wasn't for slave labor before all of that shit, then we wouldn't be in the position that we're in. The U.S. expects to announce next week a long-awaited agreement with Iraq on reducing the U.S. troop presence in the country. Two administration officials said on Friday. Negotiations over the plan, which Iraqi officials have said publicly would lead to the 2,500 U.S. troops in Iraq leaving by the end of 2026, are in their final stages, the officials said. They acknowledged that the fight against the remnants of ISIS in Iraq and Syria isn't over. Quote, ISIS has definitely been severely defeated, certainly territorially defeated. And we want to ensure the enduring defeat of ISIS, but the threat does remain, a senior Defense Department official told reporters on Friday. The officials were granted anonymity to discuss plans that have not yet been announced. The announcement comes amid growing tensions in the region, which has seen Israeli and Hezbollah fighters step up attacks amid fears of a wider war. And since Israel's war in Gaza began last year, U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria have come under attack from Iranian proxies. The coming announcement, which is expected to take place after U.S. and Iraqi official huddle once again, at the United Nations General Assembly meeting in New York next week. Is part of the Biden team's push to straighten out long lasting American commitments overseas before President Joe Biden leaves office in January. The administration has also made a big push to get Ukraine on solid footing for some sort of eventual negotiation with Russia on a peace plan. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky will deliver his plan to Biden when they meet in Washington after the UN meetings. But the change in U.S. force posture in Iraq has led to some co- uh, consternation on Capitol Hill. We've been there for a very long time. Quote, there seems to be no strategic military advantage to this anticipated decision. Withdrawing from Iraq in this way would benefit and embolden Iran and ISIS. I am deeply concerned about the impact such a decision would have on our national security. Again, I mean, America is permanently at war, and I don't really see that changing probably ever. Because again, the reason why we're as powerful and wealthy as we are is largely due to the fact that our military is all over the planet. So realistically, we might stop a little bit here and a little bit there, but our military industrial complex is not. It's still going to be what it is. All right, so we'll keep our eyes on this. We will keep our eyes on this, but again, I mean, we got 800 plus military bases around the world. We're not, it is very much a pipe dream to think that, oh, we're going to end all the wars. No, no, we're not. That's not happening. We got stoned assassin in the building. What's going on? Good to have you here. All right, where are we at now? Tucker Carlson interviewing JD Vance. Tucker Carlson, the guy who had on that Holocaust denier, hit the guy was talking about, Hitler was kind of awesome. He did that recently, among many other things. All right, Tucker Carlson asked JD Vance about the possibility of a military coup if Trump wins. That's what worries me. Okay, here we go. Is it going to go?
JD Vance, thank you for this.
God, we're not watching all of this. It's 38 minutes. So here's some of the dialogue. After Vance predicted that he and Trump would prevail this November, no. Carlson asked the Ohio senator if he thought they'll accept that. Will they accept that? I guess by everybody else. Well, yeah, it's a good question, right? Replied Vance before musing. There's only so much they can do. They've already sort of marshaled the ballot harvesting operation, which of course is the story of 2020. It's not like, it's not ballot machines were hacked into. What? It's not ballot machines were hacked into. The story of 2020 is that they really, turned on this ballot harvesting machine, and they used, of course, big tech to silence stories that were negative about Joe Biden. They're certainly going to do that again, he continued. I just don't see any evidence that these people are like controlling the puppet strings and they're going to do everything that they can. They are going to do everything that they can, but it's not that much. So right now, yeah, I think Donald Trump's going to be the next president. And if he gets elected president, this is Tucker. And if he gets elected president once again, do you think they will accept that? Are you concerned? They've spent the last 10 years taking full control of the U.S. military. What the hell is he talking about? I mean, it's Tucker Carlson, so this is just par for the course for him. But what is he talking about? They spent the last 10 years taking full control of the U.S. military. I don't know what the hell that means. Yeah, agreed, Vance. Which is, I mean, I'm sorry to even talk like that, but they think that way. They think that way, so it's worth saying it. And then Vance said, so that's what worries me. So you hear all this talk about threats to democracy, right? And the biggest threat to democracy in this country is not like Donald Trump using legal maneuvers to challenge a 2020 election. The biggest threat to democracy is that the bureaucracy in Washington, D.C. is fundamentally misaligned with at least half the country, right? So what I worry less about is like, are they going to let Trump win? Well, it's not going to be easy, but I actually do, sitting here right now, maybe I'm wrong, but I do feel very confident that Trump's going to be elected president, that he will be president. I think the real fight is going to be when he becomes president and he tries to do things. They're going to take him down and try to take him down in a very big way. Okay, a bunch of nothing. So ultimately, we didn't watch the whole thing, but their 40-minute conversation, was just a bunch of nothing. Whatever the hell he's talking about. And the irony too, where they said the bureaucracy doesn't represent half the country, but Republicans don't even represent half the country. They represent a minority in the country, and they haven't won a popular vote for president since what, Ronald Reagan or some shit like that. He was the last person to win a popular vote, So and because the Republican Party has, because essentially all they do is look out for big corporate profits. The only way they've been able to win elections at all is by with racism, spewing racism constantly, keeping their base afraid of all the immigrants coming in, afraid of the scary black criminals who are tearing and destroying your neighborhoods. That's how they've won elections more than anything else. We know what the Southern strategy is, and we can see with our own eyes, hear with our own ears, the type of rhetoric that they have been spewing, so much to the point that now they're just, despite the fact that there's no real evidence for it. Oh yeah, Haitians are eating cats and dogs in Ohio, in Springfield, Ohio. That's what's going on. Even though, again, that's been debunked many times, they're not letting off of it. If it wasn't for that, they would never win anything at all whatsoever. But the problem with that, among other things, is like the Southern strategy is not really working that well anymore. Yeah, Republicans still win elections, and they will, because demographics are spread out differently across the country, and in smaller communities that aren't big cities, you don't really need the same type of larger government politics when you're dealing with less people. But other than that, you know what I'm saying? Like, the Republican Party, the reason why they're constantly becoming more authoritarian is because they can't win elections. Like, they can't win elections. It's becoming harder and harder for them to win elections. So instead of, appealing to more people, dropping the racism at least a little bit, appealing more down the line center for economic policy, man, we just gonna take democracy away. You know what I'm saying? So we got Aaron, we got keep the main thing. What's going on? How you doing? But yeah, it's Republicans are just they're not in a good place. You said when I eat cat or dog, I always eat a shrimp roll and Pepsi to wash it down. Me too. Me too. I had some cat yesterday. I had some dog too, and there's some hummingbirds around here. I like to eat those as popcorn. You know what I'm saying? Trump backer Ben Shapiro panned by right and left for demanding Americans elect normie politicians. Pro-right commentator Ben Shapiro was panned. Hold on. Basically, people were mad at him because he was like, "Hey, you kind of played into this," because he did. He was panned by those on the political left and right for demanding that Americans nominate normies for public office in response to a bombshell CNN reports surfaced bizarre comments reportedly written by Mark Robinson. And we went over that yesterday. And it is absolutely hilarious, especially considering the fact that he's just a massive hypocrite. That's really what makes it hilarious. Shapiro, he said, perhaps the American primary voter should start nominating normies for high office. I don't know, just a thought. By normies, I don't mean people who don't know or care about policy. I mean people who lead normal lives, who don't go to sex parties while locking you down in New York, or spend their days trolling porn sites, leaving strange comments, or nail powerful politicians just to get ahead. Oh, okay. So look at what he just said about Kamala, nailing powerful politics. Oh, okay. So there you go. Kamala's only where she is because of who she slept with. He couldn't help himself but to put it in there, because Ben Shapiro's only had sex with one person in his whole life. So that makes him more noble than those of us who, have had sex with more than one person. Ben, he has so much discipline. He has so much inner strength because he's only fucked one person before, so he gets to say things like this. And then they say, and people were obviously giving him backlash. Gee, I wonder who has been radicalizing GOP voters. Republican primary voters are growing attached to lunatics because people like you specifically make money terrifying them and turning their brains into custard. Very true. Very, very true. It's just that now that Republicans are, in a very, very, very bad position, and that Donald Trump is, not only certainly going to lose this election, but it's looking more and more like he's going to lose it really fucking badly. Now Republicans like Ben Shapiro are trying to be like, let's become more civilized. Maybe we should tone it down a little. Yeah, well, you gotta own that, Ben. Because and then here's something that Ben Yellen from Twitter, he says, they're transing our kids and castrating your sons in public schools. Republican voters. Sounds extreme. We have to fight this tooth and nail by nominating the craziest motherfucker in every race. Ben Shapiro. No, not like that. Clearly, he is absolutely played a part and played a role in this type of rhetoric having negative impacts on society. What Ben doesn't understand is that him and his conservative media cohorts make that impossible. Indeed. Okay, what is this? Okay, I think they're trying to. How the media are simply lying about Robinson's comments is amazing evidence how corrupt they are. But now that everything's caught red-handed, Ben Shapiro's like, maybe we should stop. Another person. You mean like McCarthy, Romney, Bush, and McCain? If that is where you want to count me out. Yeah. Well, there you go. Ben Shapiro trying to normalize the Republicans, but they're just not. The Republican Party is been totally taken over by the craziest people on the right. We got Fritza, we got Libby in the building. What's going on? Did I miss anybody? I don't think so far. All right. Now, yesterday too, we went over Brett Favre, who steals money, steals Social Security money from senior citizens. How he openly endorsed Trump in 2015. He was mad at Taylor Swift because celebrities shouldn't use their influence. Like, oh, okay, I don't know what's the point of having all that influence other than making a lot of money and maybe inspiring people. Part of having that influence is doing something with it. So and ultimately Republicans are just jealous that their celebrities are not A-listers or even B-listers. They're C-listers at best, C-minus listers at best. That's really all it is, because they always pretend, like Republicans always pretend like they don't care what celebrities think and like they don't want celebrities on board. Unless a celebrity's on board for their bullshit, then it's totally good. We don't like celebrities here in the Republican Party, but we've turned Donald Trump into a cult god. So that's kind of an oxymoron there, because these people literally worship Trump as a god. They don't realize that they do, but they do. They follow him like he's a deity. They've turned him into a deity. Oh, and what about Ronald Reagan, who was a movie actor? He's still, he's been immortalized in the Republican zeitgeist. Yeah, no, it's just that you guys are jealous that your celebrities suck. We got Tim in the building. What's going on? All right, now, because again, these are their celebrities. The Amber Rose, the sex worker, who I'm a sex worker too, so I'm not bashing her for that, but it's just, you're a sex worker, but now you're like, oh, I'm totally on board with Donald Trump and Republicans, even though Republicans are like fundamentally against women and sex workers as a whole. So but hey, when your entire career is not really working, then stuff like this ends up being your desperation result. I don't know what this says, but whatever this tattoo on her forehead, what does that say? Lash hat? I don't know what the hell that shit says. But here she goes. It's no, actually Haitians are eating cats and dogs, because I saw it on the television. I saw people on the internet.
Trump and Vance have been accused recently of being really racist, especially Ohio, right? The eating the dogs, the Haitian community.
Racist if it's true.
No, but it's not true.
No,
that's the thing.
No.
It's not true.
No, it's not true that, because people have come out and said that they're cats and dogs.
Why is that true? It's not racist if it's true because I saw it on the internet. People were posting it. I saw it on like people said it. I saw it. Again, Republicans. These are their celebrities. Oh, those are her kids' names. Oh, okay, just in case she forgets in the morning. Every when she wakes up in the morning, just in case she forgets her children's name. It's right there on her forehead. And I'm sure you're doing your and too your children are black as well. So that's the other thing among her, a woman and a sex worker, and your children are black, and you have their names written on your forehead, but you're totally gung ho and down for Donald Trump. Yeah.
The front of people's homes they saw with their own swag. Now, regardless of I don't know what they were saying about
The Haitian community?
No, about the city council guy or
Sure.
whatever that said that wasn't true, right? Anyone could say that it wasn't true if they didn't hear about it. We saw it all over social media. So I don't think that's racist.
But
I know like this, like the statistics from like the people who work in the city and stuff who have the information, like of course they're lying about that, but the people like that I saw on Twitter, they're telling the truth. It's not racist.
I'm so tired of the race. I believe the Democrats are obsessed with race. Just leave it alone. Trump wants the economy better. Everyone wants to be
But if J.D. Vance and Donald Trump are attacking the Haitian community, which is a black community, accusing them of eating their pets, so you think that's true?
It is a known fact that in the Haitian culture, absolutely, I've spoken to
It's a known fact that Haitians eat dogs and cats. Like everyone knows that. Like I've talked to people before.
that it's what? I'm sorry.
that some Haitian people eat cats and
But like other people's pets, like we know, like.
Sir, I'm not going to bring those.
Okay, well, listen, I'm not gonna change your mind on that one. All right, let me ask you this.
But are you going to ask me a question and then talk over me, or are you going to let me talk?
No, I'll let you talk.
Okay.
Sure, you tell me. Go ahead.
So that is not racist when something is true and people are saying it online. They just so happen to be Haitians. We're like, oh, that's racist. But if they're actually eating cats, how is that racist? It has nothing to do with their color.
But because it's online, it doesn't make it true, right? Anybody can post anything
People
online.
have that argument, right? But if people are saying, hey, I had a cat and I saw my cat, like I was dead, hanging from someone's house. Right?
This is the Trump campaign. We don't need to watch the rest of this because who gives a fuck? But this is the Trump campaign. That's why I was showing it ultimately. That's it. They couldn't let it go. They couldn't move on. They couldn't do none of that shit. No, they still talking about no, people are eating cats and dogs. Okay. There we go. Now here we go. A little bit more fallout with Mark Robinson. Let's see. Hold on. He's a conservative pundit. Kiss the seat goodbye. Let's see what he has to say.
Of Wynn and Executive Committee Chair of the New York State Democratic Committee, Christine Quinn, and CNN political commentator and Republican strategist, Michael Singleton. I think everyone this morning is trying to digest the K-file reporting on Lieutenant Governor Robinson and figure out how it might play in the presidential election. And look, I'm not sure we know for sure, but I do know that the Trump campaign, and timing is everything, Michael, is releasing an ad this morning attacking Vice President Harris on the issue of transgender health care. Transgender, you say? Well, Mark Robinson apparently was cheering on transgender porn. K-File reporting on this message board, one of the things he wrote, and cover your ears. That's effing hot. It takes the man out while leaving the man in, Robinson wrote. And yeah, I'm a perv too. So, look,
that's hot. It takes the man out while leaving the man in. Again, coming from somebody who's spews nothing but hatred for the LGBTQ community, even though he's clearly a part of it.
I'm showing this juxtaposition here is I know that we don't know what the impact will be, but probably no impact isn't the answer.
I mean, look, I think Is there the potential for it to make the race more competitive at the presidential level? Certainly. You don't want the Trump campaign to have to spend money in a state that they should just pretty easily win when those funds could be directed in a state like Pennsylvania, which is really a must win for the former president. I'm also really, really worried, John, about the impact this is going to have down ballot. Congressional races, state races, whether it's state house, state senate. This guy's not going to win this race. I can just make that very clear now.
He wasn't going to win before, but now he's extra not going to win.
He's just not going to win. He's been behind for, I think, several months now by pretty substantial margins. The state party there had an opportunity to go with former Congressman Mark Walker. He's a pastor. This is someone who's a traditional conservative in the contextual sense. I think he's someone who probably would have won that seat, even if it would have been more competitive. Instead, they decided to go with this guy. And look at the results. This is someone that they clearly did no opposition research on. This is someone who certainly is a vulnerability and a liability.
And you know, like, again, at the end of the day, there wasn't much Oppo research that needed to be done on Mark Robinson, because I mean, look at the shit he says now. Like, even before he started running for governor, it was, you know, some people need to be killed. What he called Martin Luther King, Martin Lucifer Coon. You know, his stance on abortion, how there should be absolutely no exceptions, period. Abortion at 0 weeks. I mean, you know, it just just endless ridiculous rhetoric and stances that he has. But they went with him anyway because they're like, oh well, Trump took over the party, so might as well just keep on falling rank and file.
And in my personal opinion, as a strategist, they need to kick him out. Forget that, well, let's just see what happens. Force him out of this race and choose someone
I think
else.
the deadline was last night, but do you get on stage Saturday and cut him loose and say, you know what? You know,
whatever legal maneuvering they need to figure out, if possible, right? Because I'm not sure of the state laws there. But if there is some way to replace him with someone else.
I mean, look, honestly, to tell you the truth, it's been too late. It has been too late for him to drop out, and really, that shit will just make Republicans perform even worse. Like, he might as well just stay in at this point. He wasn't going to win, but when you got 46 days now, 45, 46 days until the election, like, if he were to drop out now, who would replace him, and how much time would they have to really get the word out in any significant way? That, like, they're screwed with that. They never should have went with him in the first place. So whether and like he just pointed out, it's too late for him to drop out anyway. But they never should have went with him in the first place.
They need to figure that out. Otherwise, they can just kiss the seat goodbye.
Christine, if you are the Harris campaign, how much and what do you do with this?
Well, the thing about what's happening now with Lieutenant Governor Robinson, as horrible and bizarre these posts are, the thing to note is this isn't the first time a Trump supporter or Trump ally has said, you know, anti-Semitic or racist or homophobic, you know, name the ism, said horrible things. And every other time, and including this time, the Trump does not speak out.
Of course he doesn't. Why would he? He doesn't care about any of that shit. You know, because this is who Trump wants to be right here. This is who and what he wants to be. Let's look at this. And you know, he says stuff like this all the time, but he's like, Kim Jong-un, he totally controls the country. When he stands up, when he speaks, everybody stands up and rises. That's what I want. I want my people to do that. You know, Kim Jong, he's totally the man over there in North Korea. Like, he's so dumb. He's so stupid. And that's why he's always talking about him or Viktor Orban. You know, they call him a strong man. No. You know, yeah, sure, he's a strong man, quote unquote, but he talks about these countries that honestly are a joke on the world stage. North Korea is a joke, you know, they on the world stage, like they just are. In all these countries with these dictators that he names, they're countries that really don't perform very well because they're ran horribly by dictators. But that's what he wants because everything's all about him. Donald Trump's entire campaign is just grievances and victimhood. I'm a victim. Everything's so unfair. Yesterday, he was talking to some Jewish group, and he was like, "I've been treated very unfairly, but that's the story of my life." I'm like, oh yeah, it's everything's so unfair for you.
Are we close to seeing Mr. Kim here at the White House?
Could happen. I mean,
They talked about that yesterday
I would
with
have,
Mike Pompeo?
yeah, I think it's something that could happen. Yeah. Hey, he's the head of a country, and I mean, he is the strong head. Don't let anyone think anything different.
Right.
He speaks, and his people sit up at attention. I want my people to do the same.
Well,
That's what I want. I wish I really want to be like he's so one, yes, he's authoritarian, but also he's incredibly simple-minded. Like he really thinks largely because he's never really faced any genuine accountability in his life that he couldn't just pay his way out of. But like Trump thinks that things should just go his way. Like the world should just bow at his feet. He really thinks that. He thinks that he should be able to do anything he wants, period, never face any consequences for it. And anytime he faces the slightest amount of resistance for anything whatsoever, he whines and complains about it publicly. Like he is a man child. He is the epitome of a man child. But yeah, it's just yeah, you know. Oh yeah, right, exactly. And anybody who has obscene dictatorial control over a country, they're doing something right out there, you know. These people know how to rule a country. This is what I want. But the thing about Trump, and many things about Trump, but like he's such a bad candidate to be a dictator. He's 78 years old and he's an idiot. I mean, most dictators aren't that bright generally. They're, pretty much all incredibly insecure people, incredibly small-minded individuals who don't care about the truth, who don't want the truth to get out. But he is a special case of pathetic. And again, it's like a lot the other dictators that when they get their career started, they're like in their 30s or 40s, maybe their 50s, but not late 70s. You know what I'm saying? Like he's such a bad candidate for the idea of a strong man. He's never been a tough guy. He's not, like he's so many people's father figure. And for what? He's not a tough guy. He's not attractive. Women don't like him. Like none of the pillars that are supposed to make up an alpha male, he doesn't represent any of those things. He doesn't work out. He never has been in shape. Again, none of the things that you like, oh yeah, he's really that. He doesn't have any of that shit. He's just a loser. And he makes other losers feel powerful. But yeah, he's a terrible candidate for a dictator. He really is. Like, damn, at least be younger and tough or some shit. Like, goodness gracious. Yes, and yes, he's got tiny hands indeed. Karl Rove dismisses Donald Trump Jr.'s political future. He's busy trying to figure out which girlfriend he actually has.
When we think about, I want to stay on this for a minute, what it will take for this country to really turn the page on Donald Trump and really the Republican Party. I think about the 2022 midterm elections where in Arizona and these various states, you would have the Donald Trump-esque candidate win the primaries, but they couldn't win the general election. And so I remember there was a lot of commentary at that time, people are moving on. But what I felt that often glossed over was these candidates like Kari Lake are still winning their primaries. In some places quite handily. What is it going to take for Republican leadership to sort of move the primary electorate where they think the party should go instead of following it?
Yeah, Carl, what are they going to do? It's 2-1. It's even. Look, I may be wrong about this, but let's assume for a moment that he loses. What's the future of the Republican Party going to be like? There'll be a battle. The good news for more traditional Republicans is that he's sui generis, which I know there are a lot of Latinists among the Atlantic crowd. He's unique. And who would follow him? Don Jr.? Right now he's busy maybe right now he's trying to figure out which girlfriend he actually has. But wow. Josh Hawley, JD.
Karl Rove, after the debate, he put out an article where he was like, Donald Trump spent weeks and weeks saying that Kamala was too dumb to debate, and that she was an idiot. Well, after that debate performance, what does that make him? Yeah, I mean, look, after Trump loses, everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of Republicans are going to pretend like they never supported him. They're going to pretend like they've always been against him. They're going to pretend like now it's finally our opportunity to move on. But it's going to take Republicans, it's going to take a while for Republicans to be able to really move on. It really is. They're not going to be able to do this shit in one election cycle because MAGA has taken over the party.
You know, you take those and match them up against a Brian Kemp or a Glenn Youngkin or a Tim Scott or, you know, fill in the blank. And it's hard to see that they have anywhere near the ability to mobilize a populist movement that he has. This is about, look, remember, this is the guy who we saw on our television sets for years as the apprentice, the head of the apprentice, and the folk hero in New York, and the gigantic persona, and really a personality. I mean, what human being could go through what he has gone through and be standing on their own 2 feet? So
What? I don't really know what that's supposed to mean. What person could go through what he's gone through and still be standing? Anybody who isn't dead. I mean, that's part of when you're not dead, you're still breathing and you're still standing. But also, it's not as if he's standing on his feet in any type of strong way. He's been going through everything and his whole life has collapsed. So like I don't really know what that's supposed to mean. And I give Trump no credit for still standing on his feet. I mean, again, his whole life is collapsing and it's been collapsing. Court case after court case after court case that he loses that further solidifies him as a historical loser, as a historical con artist and grifter and charlatan. And how absolutely horrible he's performing in this campaign. It's fucking terrible. So I don't really know what that's supposed to mean. I really don't. The dude wakes up and screams to the world, I hate Taylor Swift. I mean, the cats and dogs. So I don't really know what is that supposed to mean.
give him credit. But I don't see
No, don't give him credit. Again, like I just said, what credit is there to give? All he's been doing since he became president is destroying his own life, among other things. So no, don't give him credit.
the person that follows him, because look, he has no ideology. He has a couple of touch points, that one of which he stumbled on. You know, coming down that stair, he talked about when he got down the golden escalator, border, and tariffs, which he's long been on. But the rest of this stuff, you know, everybody should have IVF.
They hate him. They hate him. Look at it again. This is Karl Rove. Karl Rove is not an eccentric guy. He is a very tried and true and trusted Republican operative. And look what he just did. Everyone should have IVF. They hate this guy. They hate him. And the only reason he gave him a little bit of credit is, I guess, so that Republicans don't come after him hard, too hard. But again, like what? No, like don't. What credit is there to give this guy? Oh, wow, he's not dead. That's so incredible. Oh, we got Annie in the building. What's going on? But yeah, I no, there's no legitimate credit that he deserves for still standing on his feet. What the hell does that mean? What are you talking about? His whole life is collapsing. Trump bizarrely declares Israel, I believe, has to defeat Kamala Harris.
47 days from now, we're going to defeat Kamala Harris. You have to defeat Kamala Harris. More than any other people on earth, Israel, I believe, has to defeat her. You know that? And I've never said this before. I'm thinking, Miriam, more than any people on earth, Israel has to defeat her. I really believe that it's a disaster for Israel.
You've said that many times, actually. This isn't the first time you said that. But support for Israel is baked into the American system. So, I don't really know what that's supposed to mean either. Yeah, give him some credit. Who could go through what he's gone through and still be on his feet? Look, bruh, his whole life is a fucking mess. What are you talking about? All right, we got. Let's see. I think it was someday this week. I don't remember if it was yesterday or at some point this week. We covered a Ohio sheriff who, publicly posted anybody who has Kamala Harris signs in their yard or anybody who supports Kamala Harris, put their addresses out there. You're the sheriff and you're threatening people who you're supposed to be protecting and serving. But of course, he doubles down on it because that's what MAGA does. they double down on their stupidity because, it's kind of the only thing that gives them any type of attention whatsoever. So he said, what's this going? What is this? Okay, this is what he put out the other day. He said, when people ask me, what's going to happen if the flip flopping laughing hyena wins? I say, write down all the addresses of the people who had her signs in their yards. So when the illegal, when the illegal human locust, he calls immigrants locusts, which she supports, need places to live, we'll already have the addresses of their new families who supported their arrival. Why people this dumb should not be police officers, but you got to deal with the world the way it is and not the way that it should be. Because if you're constantly dealing with the world the way that it should be, good luck. So then he says in return, because of course, apologizing is for the weak. Owning up to your mistakes is for pussies. He says, as the chief law enforcement officer of Portage County, I have sworn to protect all citizens of my county. Recently, I placed a post on my personal Facebook page that may have been a little misinterpreted. It may have been a little misinterpreted. Maybe they got it wrong. Maybe you guys are just too stupid to understand exactly what I said. Oh no, I don't know. I as the elected sheriff do have a First Amendment right, as do all citizens. I can say what I want. It doesn't matter that I'm the sheriff. I can say whatever the hell I want and get over it if you don't like it. If the citizens of Portage County want to elect an individual who has supported open borders, which I personally visited twice, so I know what I'm talking about, I can say whatever I want, and neglected to enforce the laws of our county, then that is their prerogative. So, in other words, nobody but me is correct for this job. I'm the only person who can do this job. With elections, there are consequences. That being said, I believe that those who vote for individuals with liberal policies have to accept responsibility for their actions. I'm a lawman, not a politician. Okay, this guy's he's dumb. This dude's there's not a lot going on in his head because all of this is everything he's saying in response to the backlash is I'm a lawman, not a politician. What does that mean? Yes, you're the sheriff, and you're saying that write people's addresses down who had Kamala's signs in their yard, like that. No, okay. I would also like to thank the overwhelming support. Why is he capitalized? Just like Donald Trump. Why is this capitalized? The overwhelming support. Why is it capital? These letters I am receiving from many people in Portage County who are afraid or not allowed to greet me publicly. Stay strong and God bless. Yeah, that it's my job. It is my job to put my constituents' lives in danger. It is my job. But yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, let's see what's up with this. No, seems to be all right. Mark Robinson is not going to appear at Trump's rally in North Carolina. He was going to, but now he's not. We don't really need to read that story, but he's not. He's not appearing there. Okay, now let's see what's up. Here is the video of Diddy getting arrested. Here is le video. There they are. They come out with the papers. Come with us, sir. Please come with us. There they are. They're taking him in there right now. I know his heart and his soul is sunk, and he is still in jail, and he ain't getting out. That's crazy. This dude, the life that he was able to live by, being a coercive piece of shit. He was able to live that life for like for basically 30 years. He was able to do it, and then all of a sudden, just like that, it's done. My man gets taken into custody, and it's over. And he ain't it. He was trying to post a $50 million bail, and they was like, nah, your ass is staying put. There he is in cuffs. And that was perhaps the last free day he will ever see, because he's looking at a minimum of 15 years and a maximum of life. And now, hold on, where we at? From mansion to misery. From mansion to misery, we got a look inside Sean Combs' new home, the notorious Metropolitan Detention Center in NYC. Now he is in the human zoo. He is locked in a cage in the human zoo. Yeah, imagine how it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, to be in the position that he's in. Like, he wasted his whole life. He really wasted his entire life, man. And they was like, hell no, you cannot get up out of here. And again, he's looking at a minimum of 15 years and a maximum of life. And there's nothing he really can do about it. There really is nothing that he can do about it. All right, so Trump can sell his stock in Truth Social now, but he's not going to get nearly as much for it as he would like. But now he can do it. Hold on, let's see what's up with this. We got, let's see. Leave me alone. Stop calling my phone. I'll pay you motherfuckers when I feel like it. All right, we got Trump now allowed to sell stock in struggling Truth Social. Down, 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 down. Former President Trump is now free to sell shares in the parent company of Truth Social, as a stock lockup provision expired after Thursday's market close, although last week he pledged that he wouldn't. He probably will. I mean, let's be serious. Trump and some other insiders had been prohibited from selling for 6 months after Truth Social's parent company went public via a blank check company. Trump holds around 115 million shares in Trump Media and Technology Group, which traded at nearly $80 earlier this year. Its price has since fallen by more than 80%. That's similar to Elon Musk. Since he took over Twitter, they've lost 84% of their revenue in ads. So basically, they've lost like almost all of their revenue entirely, just so that Elon Musk can use Twitter as his personal playground. I mean, Elon Musk tweets so much. He puts out, and it's so much of it is just stupid. Like, the wealthiest man in the world on paper is putting out all this BS. And he's the CEO of like 5 other companies. They need to get rid of him. They need to get other CEOs. Its price has since fallen by more than 80%, bringing the value of Trump shares to $1.61 billion. The company reported large losses of just 1.6 million in revenue for the first 6 months. So he said he won't sell it, but I mean, come on. He probably will. Let's be serious. All right. So, Georgia. He said, "What do your kids ask who's calling me?" Verizon. I owe them $200. They calling me, and I got it, but I'll pay them in a few weeks. I'm not paying them today. I'll pay them in a few weeks. I owe Verizon Fios Wi-Fi $200. So you can tell them that. You can tell them that that's what I owe them, and that that's what's in store for them as they become adults. It's always going to be owing money somewhere. But yeah, no, I'm gonna pay. I'm gonna pay it sometime in the middle of October, but I'm not paying it today. All right, let's see what we got. We got uh Georgia election board requires ballots be hand counted despite warning from key GOP state officials. So this is an attempt to delay things, but again, I mean, Trump doesn't really have much of any path to victory at this point. Kamala Harris has multiple paths to victory, so they can delay shit in Georgia all they want. That's not going to stop her from winning the election. Multiple states are being sued. Boards of elections are being sued because they're gonna try to fuck shit up. But they tried last time and it didn't work, and this time I don't. I mean, the idea that they're going to be able to just flat out steal this election if she just wins it, then no, that's not going to happen. But again, it's looking good for her in the swing states in general. So even if it is slowed up in Georgia, it's that's not going to stop her from winning. Allies of former President Donald Trump, who controlled the Georgia State Election Board, approved a controversial new rule Friday requiring counties to hand count the number of ballots cast at polling places on Election Day, despite bipartisan objections from election officials and poll workers. The vote was 3-2, with the three Trump allies supporting the move and a Democratic and independent GOP appointed member of the board strongly opposing it, calling it an added step that could delay the results of the presidential election in the battleground state. The office of Georgia Attorney General Chris Carr, a Republican, previously warned the GOP run board that this move would likely be unlawful because state laws don't allow local election workers to hand count ballots without the votes before the votes are officially counted. So again, they're trying desperately to do stuff like this, but in the court of law, they're getting sued left and right because it's like it's obvious what they're trying to do. That we've already seen this movie before. It's just a rerun of the same old shit. These proposed rules are not tethered to any statute and are therefore likely the precise type of impermissible legislation that agencies cannot do. So again, this is in other words that they're probably not going to be able to do this at all before they're officially counted. So maybe they'll be able to hand count them afterwards, but not before. Again, the Democrats are all over this shit. This isn't. We're not seeing things that they're not aware of. They know about this already and they're on it. Carr's office also warned the board that it might be too close to the election to make these changes, and that judges might even block these changes because of longstanding precedents that favor maintaining the status quo on the eve of elections. Quote, the board runs substantial risk of intruding upon the General Assembly's constitutional right to legislate. When such intrusion occurs, the board rule is highly likely to be ruled invalid should it be challenged. So again, in other words, this is probably going to get shot down. I mean, because again, like a lot of people, they'll like it's kind of funny when people act like they know something and the Democratic Party doesn't know. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll be like, "Oh, well, the Republicans are going to try to do this." Like, yeah, everyone knows that, and so do the Democrats, which is why they're suing these people left and right. So overall, I'm really not all that concerned about this because it's just it's just odious on for the Republican Party. It's just it ultimately just makes them look like exactly what they are. But yeah, like it's saying here, this is probably gonna get shot down by the court of law because it's so obvious what they're trying to do. Another quote: "We're too close to the election," a Republican told CNN on Thursday. We're 50 days out before we have our election. In fact, we're really just 3 weeks before we start early voting, and it's just too late in the cycle. So, so yeah, they're trying really hard, but to not much success because again, everybody knows what they're gonna try to do. They tried it last time, it didn't work last time, it ain't gonna work this time. And now it's looking more and more like Kamala's gonna win North Carolina, especially with this shit with Mark Robinson going on. And if she wins North Carolina, it's over. It's done. But the good thing for Kamala Harris and for all of us is that Trump, his paths to victory are minuscule compared to hers, and he's barely even campaigning. In the last week, Donald Trump, he was just in New York, he was just in Long Island talking about we're gonna win New York. Like, whoo, no, you ain't. No, you ain't. You lost by what, 25 percentage points or some shit, 23, 25 in 2020. No, you're not winning New York. Meanwhile, Kamala and Tim Walz and their campaign, they're all over the swing states. So, good luck with this shit. And what idiots too, because it's like any type of skullduggery. Donald Trump pulled that word out of his ass a few weeks ago. They're just going to end up going to prison for it. Like if these people really try to just, oh, we're not going to count these votes. We're going to enjoy your time in prison because that's where you will be. Do I have this pulled up? Now, hopefully we can get this popping. Let's get Ted Cruz on out of here. Let's go Texas. Let's get Ted Cruz out of here. Ted Cruz opponent Colin Allred takes the lead for the first time in Texas Senate race. New poll shows. It's just one poll. You know what I'm saying? It's just one. But, all of us are extremely hopeful that Ted Cruz can just not be a thing in the Senate anymore. So hopefully we can make that happen. Fingers crossed. Texas Democratic Representative Colin Allred has hit a milestone in the Senate race against Ted Cruz, being ahead of his opponent in a survey. Allred trailed Cruz in all surveys throughout the race, even by 10 percentage points. And one conducted by ActiVote between mid and late August. However, the latest one shows him ahead by 1 percentage point. Let's go, Texas voters. Let's get Ted Cruz out of here. The previous study, the previous one had him at down. This was 538.42 to his 47. The Democratic challenger is also the most popular politician surveyed, though he is also the least known, with 44% of voters having no opinion of him or not recognizing his name. Ted Cruz has a -8 net favorability rating. Beto O'Rourke came within 3 percentage points of flipping the seat. Man, that'd be great. It would be a great day if we can get Ted Cruz about the Senate, won't it? Oh, who's Ron Goodman? We got Ron Goodman. This is a freak show podcast with communists, and he's saying it like a million times. What's up, Ron? How you doing, brother? Ron Goodman. This is a freak show podcast with communists. Hope you're having a good Friday, Ron. All right, let's see. We got Donald Trump posting shit like this. Did Kamala do the Diddy? Shares fake freak off pic. Again, he no one asked him to do this, but he posted this. They took Montel Williams and switched it out with Diddy. And Trump, of course, he posted it. Kamala doing the Diddy? Madam Vice President, have you ever been involved with or engaged in one of Puff Daddy's freak offs? Trump saw it. He retweeted it because, again, it's like among other things, this is one of the reasons why he's going to lose this election, because the worse he does, the worse he continues to do. Like, he doesn't correct course. He doesn't think about anything because there's nothing going on up there. He's just getting worse and more crazy. And he's insulating himself with people who want to see this type of shit. All he does every day is shrink his base and shrink his opportunities. And Montel Williams, he put out, Kamala Harris and I briefly dated about 20 years ago when we were both single. So what? I have great respect for Senator Harris. I have to wonder if the same stories about her dating history would have been written if she were a male candidate. Of course they wouldn't. Of course they wouldn't be. I mean, look at Donald Trump. This dude openly talks about sexual assault. And the Republicans just they think he's the man for that. They just absolutely love him for it. All right, let's see what's up. We moving on to the next. Oh, and again, Ben Shapiro, a few slides ago, we saw that when Ben Shapiro was like, maybe we should elect normie politicians. He made sure to include some sexism in there towards Kamala Harris when he was like, maybe we shouldn't elect people who had to sleep their ways to, he had to put that in there because Republicans just they can't help themselves. Okay, what is this shit? Hold up. We might not do this one. Okay, no, we got to look at this. We got to look at this. My man's got all the money. Move faster, boy. Former UPS driver awarded $238 million after manager barked orders, called him a racist term, and then blamed it on being from the South. $238 million just for that? I mean, hey, I'll take $238 million for somebody calling me mean names. Let's read more into this because how the heck? $238 million? Okay, a former black UPS driver was awarded $238 million by a jury in Yakima, Washington, last week for damages he suffered in a lawsuit alleging racial discrimination in a hostile work environment at the international delivery company. $238 million? Why? That's what? Okay, in the verdict, the jury found that the conduct of UPS violated plaintiff Tavio Gratton's state and federal rights and awarded him $198 million in punitive damages. How? How? This motherfucker was excuse my language. He was a UPS driver. He was not making anywhere near this amount of money. I mean, that is an insane amount of money for some shit like this. And $39.6 million for emotional distress, humiliation, and suffering. Bruh, people who now this okay, we still got to read further, but I'm sorry, but this is insane. Like this dude got awarded $200+ million because he got called some racist shit versus people who might be locked up unjustly for 30 years. And then when they get out of prison, they're like, here's $2 million for the 30 years of your life being taken from you. We're going to keep reading, but I'm sorry, but how in the hell did they come up with this figure? How? Okay, again, you go to prison for, I've been locked up for 37 years for some shit I didn't do. Here's $5 million. I got called mean names at work. Here's almost $300 million. Okay, we got to keep reading into this. Maybe I'm missing something, but damn. Gratton, who is black, claimed that he faced racial harassment soon after he transferred to the Yakima UPS center in 2018, and that he faced ongoing racially discriminatory treatment and retaliation from his supervisors after complaining about ultimately leading to his unlawful firing. Okay, again, damages. His damages just don't equate to that much money. I don't understand why he got so much money for this. In his complaint filed to in the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Washington in 2022, Gratton claimed he was frequently laid off for the day while white drivers with less seniority were given routes to drive in violation of union rules. He also said he was given less desirable routes and trucks than other drivers. A manager, Sam O'Rourke, who is white, repeatedly referred to him as boy, Gratton alleged, including one day when O'Rourke accompanied him on a ride along to observe his performance. Throughout the day, Gratton said the supervisor barked orders at him and made demeaning comments such as, "Move faster, boy, let's go," and "I didn't tell you to talk, boy." An allegation backed up by a staffer in a Foot Locker store who received deliveries Gratton made that day and witnessed how O'Rourke treated him. When Gratton told him to stop calling him boy, O'Rourke replied, "I'm from the South. That's how I talk," and continued to call him boy throughout the day. Once back at the center, Gratton complained to manager Eric Loomis, who responded dismissively, "That's how he talks." Okay, I'm still not seeing why he should have gotten $238 million that again in damages. How? I don't get it. This caused Grattan to be humiliated, and he said he broke down crying in his car before driving home that day. I could see if they gave him a few $100,000, but not $238 million. Why? He filed complaints. Initially, those complaints included racist verbal abuse to a mall route. Later, Grattan claimed that he and other black drivers were overloaded with out-of-the-way pickup stops. Grattan claimed that by 2021, the supervisors were targeting him for discipline because of his race and in retaliation. Okay. He was fired on October 27th, 2021, following allegations of sexual harassment against him alleged to have been occurred in August 19th. U.S. District Judge Thomas O. Rice noted in his order that the accounts of the plaintiff and his witnesses about the kind of contact Grattan made with a female UPS employee conflicted with those offered by UPS. I've yet to come across any reason why his damages were to the tune of $238 million. I don't. I'm missing that. Now I'm skimming through it. The jury who heard the case in September saw it differently, finding in their whopping $238 million verdict that Grattan had proved racial discrimination, retaliation, and wrongful discharge claims. Quote, we thank the jury for seeing the truth, vindicating our client's rights. Well, major win for the defense team. Damn. Bro, that's so much money. I'm sorry, but he shouldn't have gotten that much money. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, I don't care. He does not deserve $238 million for some shit like that. That's too much money. That's way too much money. Why? I mean, that is an absurd amount of money. Like you're one of the wealthiest people in the country now. I don't agree with that. I don't. You know, again, maybe a few $100,000, maybe $1 million, but $238 million. Nah, that's bullshit. Again, you for some shit like that, and people who get hurt on the job, motherfuckers who get like permanently crippled on the job won't get that much money, but he got that much money because of he was getting called boy. I don't see how that equates to that much money. I really don't. All right, where we at now? But I saw that settlement and I was like, oh yeah, we got to talk about this. But no, I don't. I think that's ridiculous. I'm a progressive, but that's ridiculous. All right, now we got where we at now? The Secret Service. It looks like they're gonna have some discipline for the failed assassination attempt, which I think is justified because, I mean, this kid was on the roof a few yards away, basically, almost got him. All right, let's see what they're talking about. There was complacency. Acting Secret Service Director vows to hold agents accountable for failure to protect Trump.
Event details and coordination with partner agencies regarding the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump on July 13th. Our mission assurance review is nearing its completion. As I've said, this was a failure on the part of the United States Secret Service. It's important that we hold ourselves accountable for the failures of July 13th. And that we use the lessons learned to make sure that we do not have another failure like this again. The findings of the Mission Assurance Review have prompted the Secret Service to move into the accountability phase of this process. The Office of Professional Responsibility and the Office of Integrity are reviewing the findings. And as a result of these failures, what has become clear to me is we need a shift in paradigm in how we conduct our protective operations. As was demonstrated on Sunday in West Palm Beach. The threat level is evolving and requires that.
Yeah, I mean, shit, a massive win on the defense team. I just don't see how his damages equate to that much money, because he never would have made that much money with UPS, or probably no matter what he did with his life, he probably never would have seen that much money. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, here's almost 300 million. Like, I don't see the logic in that. You know, I good for him or whatever, but I don't see how they got to that conclusion. Like, it doesn't make sense.
This paradigm shift. But here are some of the findings from this mission assurance review. With respect to command and control of the site in Butler, Pennsylvania, the Secret Service has the main responsibility of building the site plan. We cannot abdicate or defer our responsibilities to others. Advanced team personnel have an obligation to ensure that each site meets the protective requirements and principles of Secret Service methodologies. The Secret Service did not give clear guidance or direction to our local law enforcement partners. There were communication deficiencies between law enforcement personnel at the site. For example, the Secret Service did not co-locate its security room with local law enforcement. There was an over-reliance on mobile devices, resulting in information being siloed. For example, at approximately 1810 local time, Secret Service informed personnel that local police were addressing an issue at the 3 o'clock of the outer perimeter. At approximately 1810 local time, via phone call, the Secret Service security room calls the counter sniper response agent reporting an individual on the roof of the AGR building. That vital piece of information was not relayed over the Secret Service radio network. At approximately 1810 and 54 seconds, verified through body camera footage of local law enforcement, officers confront the assailant on the roof of the AGR building. At 1811:05, by a phone call, a site agent calls the assistant site agent to find out what exactly is going on at the 3 o'clock. And during that call,
I'm not even really following along with this shit. I don't know what the hell he talking about. All right, we gonna move on. We definitely gonna move on. But look, hey, shit, look, you know, no hate to the brother who got $238 million. God, you can do whatever the hell you want to do for the rest of your life. You know, and your defense team, they deserve to go into the Hall of Fame. I was just sitting here like, what, huh? Like, what? $238 million? Shit. We all need to move to Yakima and hire whoever their defense team is. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we can get a piece of that. Shit. But yeah, no, that was man, that shit's crazy. All right, where we at now? Vivek Rant, well, I mean, that was just kind of a side comment. He didn't really say that. But now we got this last little clip. And then we gonna get through. Let's see. We got Donald Trump. One last Trump clip for the day. Trump preemptively blames the Jews if he loses. The Jewish people would really have a lot to do with that if that happens.
But I will put it to you very simply and gently. I really haven't been treated right, but you haven't been treated right because you're putting yourself in great danger, and the United States hasn't been treated right. So if I don't win this election, and I've been very good, you know, they say Trump's been right about everything. I've been right about a lot of things. Even Ted will admit that. I've been right about a lot of things.
Who says that? Trump? You know, they say Trump has been right about everything.
A lot of things that a lot of people said, no, that won't happen, but a lot of bad things happened, and some good things I've been right about, too. And I only want to be, so I'm not going to call this as a prediction, but in my opinion, the Jewish people would have a lot to do with a loss. If I'm at 40%, if I'm at 4, think of it, that means 60% are voting for Kamala, who in particular is a bad Democrat. The Democrats are bad to Israel.
He's saying this to a group of Jewish people. But I mean, the Jewish vote typically goes to Democrats anyway. So like, that's usually where it goes. which again is like, it doesn't make sense for him to be like, it'll be really bad for Israel if Kamala Harris wins. Like, no, Israel gonna be just fine no matter who wins the election. Things will definitely be worse if Republicans get in office. But again, support for Israel is totally baked into the United States governmental cake.
Very bad. They'll never change.
Supporting Israel is what we do.
Because they have a section of their party now which has become amazingly and quickly very powerful vote-wise. I mean, Chuck Schumer is a Palestinian. Who would have thought that was going to happen? What the hell happened?
Again, he's using Palestinian as an insult. Chuck Schumer, who is Jewish, is a Palestinian. This dude, man.
Happened to him? I saw him the other day. He was dressed in one of their robes. That'll be next.
I saw him the other day, and he was dressed in one of their robes. He says of Chuck Schumer, who is Jewish. He's a Palestinian. The other day, I saw him dressed in one of their robes. Oh, by the way, if I lose the election, it'll be because of the Jews. Okay, Trump. But yes, again, supporting Israel is what the United States does. It's what we've done forever. I mean, ever since Israel was conceived, ever since it was born in the 40s, that's what we have done. You know what I'm saying? With Republicans in office, there's absolutely no consideration for Palestinians. With Democrats in office, there's a little bit of consideration. You know what I'm saying? So there is a lesser of two evils here. But again, the point is that, Kamala Harris is not going to go in office and then create a two-state salute. That's not happening. Unfortunately, it's just not going to happen. That's going to be an issue that Democrats forever try as hard as they can to sweep under the rug because of how much political capital it would take to actually stand up to Israel. As of now, there's no one at the helm of government who's going to do that. We might get a ceasefire. I mean, eventually a ceasefire will have to happen at some point, hopefully sooner than later. But outside of that, that's again, standing up to Israel is just not what we do. But thank y'all for joining me on this Friday for this stream. We've come to our conclusion for the day. I'm doing the mental health stream on Sunday. I'm gonna do stuff like that on Sundays, maybe in weekdays, but I've come to find that trying to do 2 streams in one day it just doesn't work that well for my sleeping schedule. Because I go to bed really late and I don't wake up early. So that typically doesn't work because I got other stuff to do. But thank y'all for joining me. Check me out Sunday, and I will be back. I will be back on Monday for our regular streaming. Y'all have a good one.